Well, ladies and gentlemen. Seems like we got a bit of flavor in the good old BTC chart. Do you trust it? That's the question. The idea of a soft landing is getting closer and closer to investors' minds. Now we're all waiting for the inflation data, and we're about 48 hours away from that. Not 48 hours, but tomorrow would be the last day for the market to really just prepare itself, given that the data that's coming out tomorrow, nothing interesting is happening other than everyone waiting for inflation. It's been an interesting day, to say the least. Question is, how many of you were in longs beforehand? I've been seeing a lot of people like, short this thing, let's get rid of it. And like, where your heads at? How many of you have been in shorts? How many were you in shorts before Bitcoin made the move to the upside? How many of you have had to add margin? How many of you are caught in a sticky situation? Now, some of you might be in shorts from like 65, 62 or 70. Well, you don't need to be really concerned about anything unless something mad does happen in the space of crypto. So please scream at us, bro. Why should I scream at you all? If you're paying for yourselves, then happy days, you're paying yourselves. I did some trading today. I think I obliterated NASDAQ. And yeah, it was a good play. I shared my setup this morning on what I was expecting NASDAQ to do. But today I was trading quite aggressively, trading 3 different accounts all simultaneously. Like, yo, forget these trade copiers, man. Nah, they're not reliable in the sense where you try and copy one thing and then it does it duplicate by another place. And you're like, hold on a second, I never took a long. I closed the position. Now all of a sudden it's opened a new account, done KYC and done absolutely everything and deposited. So yeah, I'm staying away from that. I'm going to do things manually, but I'm going to be talking about that very, very shortly to help you understand my thought process behind why the hybrid system gives you certain clues that maybe price is getting ready or geared towards a vector candle recovery. We're going to be talking about that this evening, how you can find these spots in the chart. We're going to take a look at what's going on in the stock market as well. NASDAQ did make a nice recovery. Crypto made a recovery, but euro and gold really didn't do too much. Gold made a nice little move, but gave some back straight away. But I'd say it's a good start to the week, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. By the time we're done with this live stream, we're going to have a good idea of what we can go into in regards to this CPI data. So if you are new to the channel, I'm not going to keep you guys too long because my streams are too bloody long and people say, Tino, it's way too long. So I'm going to try and pack as much information as I can in this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get with the program. Good evening, good afternoon, fast in, fast out like no tomorrow. Yes, Euro did have a tumbler to the downside. And yeah, you see, here we go. I got other people talking about problems, copying trades and what have you. You can't take it with loud facts. That's oh, well. My keyboard won't type vector candles in. Man, you guys are coming out with some funny business. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get with the program. Here we go. So, again, China. Listen, when the world's factory starts to struggle, that's a problem. Okay? We don't like it when China starts to struggle. Word is that they're not going to be seeing developments happening across the board. It looks like it's going to be a struggle in 2025. And remember, China is one of the US's top bond holders. 3rd position. Who's 2nd? The UK. And who's 1st? The Japanese. So if it really does start to become a problem for China, then that's going to mean that the bonds could effectively get a little bit of pressure on them, and China's going to offload on that. But they have no choice but to hold on to the bonds when you think about it. But for the past 2.5 years, China has been offloading bonds quite aggressively. So it's something that we need to take into consideration with regards to China, because when China, the world's factory, slows down, everything slows down. Now, what they're trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, they're trying to sugarcoat the idea of the economy slowing down. And that is hilarious. What we're going to do right now is we're going to dive into something just to put it into perspective, because word on the street is that when the Fed cuts, the S&P tends to have a little bit of a rally to the upside. Now, across the street, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a decent day for stocks. If we just go over and have a look at that, you can see that 315 stocks are up on volume and only 189 are down on volume. But that's not really good because I really need to see more stocks up on volume and quite a significant number of stocks. Don't want it to be nearly half. You know, that's not that good. I need that to be about 89 stocks down on volume and 415 stocks up on volume. You know, so it seems like there's still a little bit of resistance coming into play in the marketplace. But as you can see here, breaking out, there's only one stock breaking out. One stock is breaking out from a consolidation. And that stock is, get ready for it. Are you serious? This is not no, General Dynamics. There you go. Bloody hell. That got me worried, that did. No chance was that going to be the case. General Dynamics, ladies and gentlemen, not so much of a big stock, but $300 a share. That's the only thing that's breaking out. Can you believe it? Look at it. Nothing's happening. Aerospace defense. That's how you know things are bad, when aerospace and defense are breaking out. And only one of them at that point. What's it telling you? Well, it's not Meta. It's not Apple. It's not Amazon. Okay? It's not Alphabet, Google. It's none of the big boys. And this is a very low market cap. So that's a sign that things might not be what they are made out to be. Going into the article, it does go on to say that over the last few years, back in 85 and July 85, you can see that when we had the month of the cutting, there was a little bit of a rally that came into play with the NASDAQ and the S&P. Now, let's just look at this for a split second. Where is it? In front of you, I showed you this chart earlier on today, okay? But we're zooming into this chart just to put things into perspective on what we could expect from now going into the rate cut, going into the election. Because that's going to help us understand where we are with our investments per se and what to expect in terms of volatility. You can see here at the top side, we had the rates at roughly around, what was the reading? It was just around about 2.4%, okay? And then they started to cut back, and then they dropped it back down to around 2.13%. And then you can see the funds rate was going down. But what you can see here is the blue line right there. Stock market was going up. Now, the impact of that is money gets cheaper, so people put more money to work. People take on consumer financial products from banks and what have you, mortgages, credit cards, you name it. So you can see that as the rates go down, assets appreciate. Happy days. Then all of a sudden in 2020, there was a little bit of a market correction when the interest rates were dead. That was the only, I don't personally think we would ever go to a 0% interest rate. How many of you are of the belief that that could be the case? From 5.5% down to zero. Ah, man. Where are your heads at with that one? I don't know. You think money could be that cheap again? I mean, don't get it twisted. They can print as much of it as they want just so that we can get down to 0.0% on the funds rate. But man, I don't think that's going to be the case. Not with the way things are going for the United States. I think that when the Federal Reserve cuts the rates and then whoever steps into power in the presidential office, that's when the market's going to get a smack across the face. But you can see here, 2018, 2019, that range right there, it corrected. It moved up before the actual big drop itself. Now we've got this move up here. We could make that assumption. I mean, if we look at all time itself, you can see the same thing is happening. When we zoom in, you can't really see it when I zoom in, but back in the 2000s, when they started to cut the interest rates, they were starting to correct a little bit. But this was the only time when they moved out above that zone back in 2007, 2008, when they started cutting the interest rates just before the subprime mortgage crisis. And then bang, it took a shoe back to the downside. And then again over here with 2020, and now we are exactly in the same position. Once we get the rate cut, we're going to be expecting the rally in the stock market to continue a little bit because they're happy that they've got the rate cut. So they now need to start moving money about, and then we'll get the correction. I don't know what could lead the stock market towards what they would call a black swan event. What is a black swan event? It's an event that you just can't predict. It just happens out of nowhere. If China's economy really does slow down, given that one of the largest property developers has seen a slowdown in its sales, and there's nothing, no one's consuming anything. China's not even consuming anything in terms of oil, US oil. I'd say that China would be the black swan. I really think that it's all down to what China's going to do. All right. The Taiwan export business itself, you know, they're starting to slow down on the exports. That could mean that demand is not as thriving as it is. And right now, investors are all relying on the idea of a Fed pivot and, of course, a soft landing. I don't trust it. I don't trust it, ladies and gentlemen. Just to go back into, Bitcoin. It obviously knows we're live. Very good. I mean, it's moving up. We had this move covered today, to be fair. Let's be fair. Platinum members, we had the move covered. Euro, pain in the ass. Didn't really quite do the move that we wanted. We wanted to see it come up to come down. Didn't quite do that. Gold did exactly the same thing, but she actually made the move up ever so slightly, then came down, then came up. Quite a tricky move. But I think cryptocurrency and NASDAQ today were the ones that smashed it for us. So here was our projection today for the Platinum members. We expected the 57,000 zone for Bitcoin today. And we just hit that. Well, we hit that just about 2 minutes ago. So happy days for the guys who took that. And then we also had Ethereum. Ethereum's a slow asset, man. I wanted 2,405. And Ethereum is 2,400, nearly on its way. So it's been very slow asset, man. I just don't like Ethereum at times when it does this. And of course, Solana, she gave us the flavor today, and she has completely ripped the ranges and completely taken our projections to the upside. So anyone interested in that, go check out the Platinum membership on the Traders Reality website, and you'll be able to benefit from that. It's pinned to the top of the chat. I do these every single day, 5 setups every single day in the morning, then one straight after the New York live, and then one straight after tonight's live stream. Okay. So putting that into perspective with regards to cryptocurrency right now, given that Bitcoin is making a nice move to the upside, it is quite simply a vector candle recovery. That's all this is. Does it mean now we go all in with Bitcoin? Well, we go to the daily time frame itself. You can see it's doing a good job of trying its best to try and get towards this 60K. And listen, I need Bitcoin. Like, this is no lie right now for anyone passing through. I need Bitcoin to move up at least 60% to hit my projection. So I mean, come on. Like it needs to move up pretty well. My projection is 80K Bitcoin and, oh, sorry, not 60%, 38%. It's actually 44% from a couple of days ago, but now we're at 38%. So hoorah, maybe inflation data could lead the fuel to the rally to the upside, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be something interesting, but it's all back to what? The NASDAQ. Say thank you to the NASDAQ, ladies and gentlemen. It's not anyone in crypto, because we know people in cryptocurrency, quite frankly, there's $728 million worth of outflows in digital assets. So you can't thank anyone in crypto, but people are just seeing that money is moving and everything's recovering back up, which is where I'll explain my trading today to help you understand that. So this is what we projected today. Said to the guys, I'm going to be trading NASDAQ today, and I'm waiting for NASDAQ to come back into the vector candle recoveries. In first instance, we're expecting a little bit of a move down and then a recovery back up. We go over to NASDAQ, and you can see on the 1 hour time frame from the point of the projection that they actually did do that move. Check this out. They made the move up into this zone. They came down and tested the Asian session midpoint, which is in essence what this zone is right here. And then they made the reversal back up. So my day-to-day trading was all about this move from this 1 hour candle going into this 1 hour candle. And then that was it. So let me show you exactly what I did. So this is how it was in terms of my trading itself. I'm going to be talking about this tonight because some of the guys want me to dive into my positioning and how I'm scaling in. So I'll get to the statistics of the day itself, but this is what my entries were like. So look at where my entry points are. This is on a personal live account, okay? But I traded a funded account today as well. So I'll explain to you what that is in a minute. So we entry points right here, closing off here, entry points here, closing off there. We go across here, entry point, close, entry point, close, and then we made a nice entry point here and then close at the top there. And what a close that was, because then it just took a shoe bag to the downside. Then I started to play the game. I entered one contract here, and then I sat through this drawdown, which happened to be at the point where I was expecting it to go towards, which was the Asian session midpoint, okay? And then it was roughly around 5 p.m., if knowledge serves me correctly, where we actually then saw the reversal, and this is where I scaled in and I added to the trade, okay? So I added to the position, I closed off one, then went in again, and then I added again, closed off, added again, closed off, added again, closed off, added, closed off at the top side of the move, and then it came down to only come back up. So all in all, we took around 13 trades. This was so this is how I split it today. I split it across a couple 3 accounts. So the day's trading in principle, let me just bring this up for you just to show you. So we made today on this account $3,243. We took 13 trades, 10 of them were winners, 3 of them were losers. Look at my losing trades, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what I mean about risk. All right. So my losing trades were $210 and $90 and $30. All right. My average winning trade, 190, 265, 250, 195, 680, 675, 550, 30, 170. Okay. And you can see that I was holding them relatively for some time. I had 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 6 minutes, 21, 23 minutes, 1 hour, and then 17. The 1 hour one was the one where I was just riding on it to continue up. And there was the prospect of me adding and scaling into that position. But at the time, I was like, I'm not really feeling it. I've done all right for the day anyway. So we had a relatively decent day on that account, which is 3,243. Then we had this on my Ninja Trader account, which is a personal account over here. So I took a screenshot because I use an ultra wide screen when I'm trading. So here is the account here. We made on a live account right there. We covered $2,661 at the end of the day, and we literally copied the same trade. So 13 trades overall. So we had 26, 26 trades plus this account right here. So 2,606, 3,310, and then on our funded account, PA, we made 2,785. So what I did was I copied each of the trades. I opened the trade on here. I opened the trade on Ninja Trader. Then I opened the trade on Tradeovate, which took us to around 8,700 something for the day on trading the NASDAQ. And that was just quite simply, guys, trading this logic of price going back into the vector candle. And that's all I was looking at. Just this. That's all I was looking at. Green candle, red candle formation. Next candle coming in, shifting back up, testing the Asian session open midpoint right there. Going into the smaller time frames, you can see where the actual move was. What is this, ladies and gentlemen? What's the criteria right here? Platinum members know this. Why? Because we did a checklist on it. Checklist part 3, the V-shaped structures, trading the blood. There's a checklist. They know exactly what this story is. And the checklist was based on NASDAQ. The intention indicator is signaling a reversal on the NASDAQ. I'm giving them a breakdown of what this is, okay? And telling them that inside of this checklist is going to be the criteria for a V-shaped reversal. There's one right there. And all the criteria has come into play right here, which is the same criteria that I took taking the trades earlier on today, okay? So you can see just they came straight back up, vector candle recoveries, environment. The guys know exactly what we're talking about with that. And then the same thing happened with Bitcoin as well. Go down to Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin's a little bit tricky, ladies and gentlemen, because you can see it does a consolidation. Then it makes the move, retrace, continuation out. So it's a bit tricky to trade at best of times. And that's why I trade the NASDAQ, because as much as we love Bitcoin when it makes these significant moves to the upside, you don't get them all the time. And Bitcoin, quite frankly, just stalls out and doesn't bloody move. That's why I trade the NASDAQ, because I can guarantee I'm going to get volatility. And by the principle of bid and the offers, which makes me go over to Bitcoin on that story, we can see that all the guys that have been buying up the Bitcoin, we said there's not that many guys going into it right now, in the sense where they're slowing down on the bids. They may be finished. And we spoke about it in regards to the short liquidations. We had too many longs getting liquidated, not enough shorts getting liquidated, but they started it over the weekend and then they made the reversal back up. So that's happy days. And they've gone and swept the ranges to the upside. So the $1 million question is, what can we expect from cryptocurrency now? Well, if you go and have a look at the news, you can see that Coinbase is facing a legal setback as judge allows shareholder lawsuit to proceed. How does that impact Coinbase? Well, let's just go and have a look at Coinbase for a split second to see how it has actually impacted it. Look at this. Where are you, Coin? Because I always said this, that Coinbase, when Coinbase moves, Bitcoin moves. All right. And you can see today that it hasn't really, it's done all right. It's up 5.23% for the day. It started off at an open of, where is it? High of 157, low of 150, and it finished at 155. So, okay, it's $7 price range, but volume is high on on Coinbase itself. And given that it's traded 7 million shares a day, it's relatively decent. And Bitcoin has done very well on the back of that as well. Now, check this out. Crypto strategists say sell exhaustion in sight for Bitcoin, predicts subsequent price rebound for Bitcoin. Okay, so what's he trying to say? Well, Rect Capital is suggesting that cryptocurrency could be on for a nice move to the upside, but we've got lots of guys who are getting shaken out in the shorts. Now, when we put that into perspective on the actual chart itself, we just expand this out. You can see lots of people have been running shorts on Bitcoin. So let's just understand something right now. Everything has been Bitcoin going down, going down, going down, going down. We've been the only ones trying to back up the idea of Bitcoin going back up. That's the first, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? We've been the first, not the first, but maybe one of the few people that were like, look, we're looking for Bitcoin to move up when it was all doom and gloom for Bitcoin. Okay, we lost the 60K. That's it. Everyone's like Bitcoin to the shoe bag, Bitcoin down to the lows. Well, it's in front of you, man. Like, I don't think they're ready for it just yet. Just yet. There's going to be some more left in Bitcoin. All right. And when we look at the daily open itself, sorry, the daily time frame, it's done a good job of coming back into these two last days that they sold off from. And when you zoom out, you've got this structure right here, which is a promising thing. But the only way that Bitcoin would have an attempt towards the all-time high, in my opinion, is if it can actually succeed at taking out this red vector candle at 62. If they can't claim 60, then that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You know, just get rid of your Bitcoin is what they would say. Don't get rid of your Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Just take some money off the table, because you might just get some profits right now, and then you'll be able to load up on Bitcoin a bit more when it's a bit cheaper. But that's how you know that investors are still short-term with the way they are moving. The 10-year itself, look at that, slow moving on the bonds market, but then the NASDAQ and the S&P recovering back up. We've got red vector candle up here. Maybe they could be preparing it for the inflation data. Who knows? Any questions? Any questions on that? Big moves are unmistakable. Let's have a look at what you got going for me here. So what? It's their problem. They are not buying. They had dozens of chances. I hope they are sidelined forever. I don't think this is Bitcoin's big move. When Bitcoin have intention to go, it will go. Yes, I believe so. But Bitcoin's intention is not our intention. Our intention is always pure of heart, ladies and gentlemen. We always want the Bitcoin to move up, don't we? Yeah, we do. It's what Wall Street says, unfortunately. NASDAQ up, S&P up, bonds are flat, Bitcoin up. Do the math. NASDAQ down, S&P down, bonds are up, Bitcoin down. Ain't got nothing to do with anyone in cryptocurrency. That's one thing for sure. Remember, Friday, outflows were to the sum of around $728 million in digital assets. Today, we saw 157 million going into cryptocurrency. Is it bullish? Man, please stop leading people on. Doesn't make sense. Is this a bullish time? I need proof of Bitcoin to move up. I need to see it break 62, 64. I need Bitcoin to break 64. I really do. That would then shut up anyone about Bitcoin going lower, because it needs to come away from this structure. It's trading below the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA. Get your charts and have a look at it. Still got a lot of work to do. One day, king for a day, ladies and gentlemen. That's what this is, king for a day. So do something about it. Take some money off the table, all right? Because when you go into the chart itself and break it all down, you've got the 4-hour time frame, which does show a nice conviction of volume moving up. Green vector candle, and it hasn't gone back into recover it. So that could be a problem for us at a later stage. I would have preferred Bitcoin to swipe lower and reverse rather than moving away from this point already. That's a bit of a concerning thing for me. Okay. Bro, why is crypto so fickle? I mean, 1.9, what is it? $2 trillion market cap? What do you expect? You know? Any questions? You know, what about that daily red vector candle at 62? Do you consider it recovered? Not necessarily. Daily red vector candle considered at 62. It's not recovered. Does it look recovered? No, we still got a little bit of flavor left on that vector candle over there. Still an imbalance, even by the principle of exochart. So allow me to just show you this. Let me see how it looks over here. All right, then. So this is, of course, yeah, this is the NASDAQ. So we had fun with that bad boy today. I'm really happy with NASDAQ. She behaved herself. No BS sideways trading range dead movement. But let's just go to Bitcoin just for a split second. Okay. So we had this range covered, man. We had it covered from this morning. Let me just quickly go and have a look. Where did we have that bad boy covered? We had those ranges covered. Yeah, we did. We had them covered today because of the points of control and exo charts with the initial balances. The initial balances are something, ladies and gentlemen. They really do give you insight into what price could effectively do. It's the first hour of trading, and that makes the difference on what the asset is likely to do throughout the rest of the day. Look how it added support inside of that range, which happens to be what on Bitcoin. Let me just bring this up for you for a split second. Where's Bitcoin? Go back into that. That retrace back down into that zone on Bitcoin. Did it do that? Yes, it did. Go back into it. Go back to the 1 hour time frame just to help you guys understand this game. Look, the Asian session range right here is so important. So important. This pretty much is giving us the heads up of what we can expect this week. Now, listen, tomorrow isn't CPI, but Wednesday is. Now, if they've marked up price aggressively, there is a possibility that if the data comes out tomorrow on Wednesday and it suggests that inflation is going down 2.6%, it says that it's risen by 2.6%. It's actually lower than what it was, all right? We get anything about this core CPI and comes in higher than 0.2%. If it comes in at 0.2%, that's all good. And then a reading of 2.6%, that's even better. What we'd expect from Bitcoin from now is a little bit of a retracement, continuation back up CPI data. Because the rest of the week, guys, is nothing. You've got core PPI coming out, which is the Fed's main gauge. Unemployment claims. That's pretty much told us that we're getting an interest rate cut, so no worries over there. And then the ECB press conference where they're like trying to struggle and work out. Oh, by the way, we've got bond auction as well, which probably explains why. We got the 30-year bonds coming out, and the 30-year yield itself is coming down at 4%. Mad love to the guy who commented on the channel telling me who the gentleman was, Mohammed Efran, whatever his name. I haven't got it. I've forgotten his name again. But it's in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. So mad love to my guy that read that commented on that one. But the 30-year bonds auction is going to be coming into play, and that is very important for us because if the 30-year bonds does show commitment from investors, then that's going to make the actual yield that we've got against the 3-month and the 10-year start to flatten out even more. We need that to compress and get flat so that the 10-year goes above the 3-month because we need investors to invest in longer-term dated securities. We want them to put that money in the 30-year. If we don't get a good bond auction, that might not be good news for us, given that the dollar is trading at significant lows and is now back at 101. So that could be a little bit of a problem for us. But we really need the bond auction to just come into play and show that it means business. Because if it doesn't, then we're just going to put they're effectively putting their money into dollars. Euro goes down, Bitcoin goes to the toilet. Finished. That's pretty much the story. Okay. Any other questions? Tino, are you short in stocks going into rate cuts? S&P looks like it's printing a double top on the daily and the weekly time frame. Look, listen, I ain't short in nothing. Okay. I just trade it. The only things that I'm playing are silver and gold. All right. What a time to go into silver and gold just before the Fed cut, before the Fed pivot, before what would look like a black swan event. There's a reason why gold is holding out and not breaking down, ladies and gentlemen. There's a reason for it. You know, I mean, gold is making a move high. We wanted to see gold move up in our setups themselves. We just go over to that. This is the Platinum membership itself. So for anyone interested in that, go check it out. It's on the Traders Reality website, pinned to the top of the chat. Look, we wanted to see midpoint take the recovery of the 50% of the target profit zone, breaking of the Asian session high. We wanted to see that move to the upside, and gold effectively has just taken a slow climb, a painfully slow climb. I don't get why people trade gold. I don't get why people trade. Well, I get why people trade euro, but the only asset that moves so aggressively is NASDAQ. It really does. Now, if you guys are in crypto and you're stuck with just trading crypto, BTCC allows you to trade NASDAQ and cryptocurrency at the same time. So I'm just showing you this just so you're aware of it. Anyone that is from the United States that doesn't want to do KYC and you don't need VPN, go check out BTCC. It's pinned to the top. It's pinned in the description of this live stream. But the good thing is you can trade Google, gold, silver, NASDAQ, S&P. And if you are in cryptocurrency positions, you could effectively hedge yourself, because I will promise you that NASDAQ will make more movement than Bitcoin. It really does. And it does every single day. You only need to just go and have a look at NASDAQ over here on this chart right here, guys. Look, just on Exo charts. And you can see, like, Bitcoin is blessed us with a nice little move like this. But every single day, NASDAQ is moving wonderfully. And you can scalp these all day, every day. There is no problem with it whatsoever. That's why I scalp it. I mean, NASDAQ is crack for traders. That's what they call it. But nonetheless, you know, you get these nice moves in Bitcoin, but we end up paying the price if we don't pay ourselves. So please, ladies and gentlemen, take some money off the table, take 50% of your position, and then wait to see if this move is the true move to the upside, you know? You know, why not short NASDAQ going into rate cuts, given that stocks always fall after rate cuts? Because you could do the shorting. There's nothing wrong shorting NASDAQ. I mean, it'll be great to short NASDAQ from this position over here. If we just go over to NASDAQ itself, and we then say, okay, looking at it on the daily time frame, but you've got to understand, you just buy one contract itself. If NASDAQ was to go up by $300-400, you're experiencing a bit of a drawdown. You'd have to have the patience to sit with it. But I would play options instead. Okay, I'll go and put myself relatively decent option, and I'll play it for a month. Okay, and then I'll be looking for NASDAQ to come down towards 16,000 by the time we've got the Fed cut. Okay, I'd be looking for options to go short on the put side of NASDAQ, because that's what I'd expect. I expect them to try and attack this range. You only got to look at this vector candle down here. They're going to attack this range at some point, and they're going to see that range. But it's just a case of everyone's now going into stocks on the discount, and now they're going to try and rally it back up, which would effectively then lead us into like a top over here. And then, of course, historically, we go back in the charts and look at what they did before every market crash, before every Fed pivot. They formed this structure, and then they continued, and then they made a sharp reversal. I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that the stock market's going to spend less time correcting than it is going to... How can I put it to you? Lately, they have been recovering from significant events. Look how long it took them to recover from COVID. They did that straight away. 2018, they did it straight away. Subprime mortgage crisis took a little while, all right? But that was a massive financial collapse. But any other event after that, it was not a financial collapse. It was just delayed in the economy. Like, we had to slow everything down. We had to stop, and it was a reset. But the stock market seems to be recovering pretty quickly from whatever event is being thrown at it. And that's where it is, man. That's the story. What about this 1 minute green vector candle? Isn't it a bit too aggressive for to continue up? What do you mean a 1 minute vector candle? What, on Bitcoin? Isn't it a bit too aggressive for a continuation up? This is in principle a climatic candle. Where you see, and this is a little exercise for you, when you see the green vector candle appearing at the highest point where it's pumping upwards, that's an advert. It's a little flag. It's a flag by the market maker to say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's just do it. Just to let you understand it. Here we go. That took forever. Take a screenshot of that, ladies and gentlemen. I'll disappear for a split second. Check that out. Take a screenshot of that. And when you see a green vector candle appearing, okay, just envision that thing right there. Because it's not a nice place to be buying now, is it? Because that's exactly what happened over here, which happens to be the same area where there was probably a high concentration of offers coming into play in the chart. We look in the last 12 hours chart itself, you can see that they just triggered. I'd need to refresh this. But, yeah, look at all these offers, right? I mean, come on. Look. Look what just got sold. 57,940 Bitcoin, yeah? 20 million just got sold at that point. That's why it got sold at that point, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I mean, man. You know, just look at consider my entries on here. Just look at them where I'm going long. Okay, it's always when price is at the lows. Okay, at the lowest point assumption, lowest point right there. Okay, lows up, go over here. This is one where I experienced a bit of a drawdown. But here's your DCA, your dollar cost averaging, where you take a long on the rally up, happy days, take a long rally up, long rally up, closing off at that point, not leaving anything on the table, and then you close off of that. I think that's the best close for me was this one. And this is where you're closing into a vector candle. I saw a red vector candle on the 30-second time frame. Bang, it came down. I was like, okay, get out of this bad boy. And that was the best time for me to get out. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda traded it to the downside, but I didn't. But I wasn't interested because I've literally abused NASDAQ from the couple of moments beforehand. But yeah, take a screenshot of that and make sure you are aware of this madness right here. Okay, cool. Pay for it, Tina. No, listen, guys, please listen. That's not financial advice. Please, brains. Fine, quick, put them back. That is not an entry point. Please do not buy there. And guess what? Bitcoin will shoot up tonight. No, but it's just trying to demonstrate an example of like what happens. You know, people buy at that point. We justified it with the $20 million purchase. Sorry, sell orders. And what did we say? What did we say on Friday? We need people to buy Bitcoin for it to go up so that we can sell it. And that's the truth. Are we in that frame of mind right now for Bitcoin to keep on being sold? Maybe. Maybe the guys are now going to be offloading their Bitcoin to the sum of maybe 62. We've got CPI data coming out, ladies and gentlemen, which could be something that solidifies Bitcoin's climb. I mean, if we get to the all-time high before September the 18th, that's 10 days time. We can get to it before September the 18th. Ladies and gentlemen, I still hold to my projection. I still hold to it now. I said if price closes below 49K, then we've got a problem. But it isn't below 49K. We're still at 47. And we're in a good place. Ladies and gentlemen, other than that, I bid you farewell. Have yourselves a lovely evening. Check out tradersreality.com for more flavor. And I'll be tuning in with you all tomorrow morning. Take care of yourselves, gang. Mad love. Peace.